Jeff from 2 Hacks Garage. Well, if you saw in the last video, sorry if there's a lot of noise. It's a very busy day here at 150 Speed Shop. They're working on Project 9194 over there, and we got a ultrasonic parts cleaner going on in the background. But as you saw in the previous video, we tore these engines down. This is the Gen 3 for Project Double Secret Probation, which we're still not saying what it's for. And this is a Gen 4 LS that's for Project Thumper, that 1989 4x4 OBS that we're going to do an LS swap in. So this video, what we're going to end up doing is we're just going to show you kind of like a simple block prep on what we're going to do today for this before it goes to the hot tank. I'm taking this one to Jimmy's, and I think Mike's taking this one somewhere else, not 100% sure yet. But the goal is, since we are kind of on a time crunch, is we need to get this prepped for the hot tank. Hot tank does a very good job at cleaning, but any work you can do prior to that really does help. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a degreasing on this. We're going to chase all the threads, and we're going to scrub all the oil, grease, and everything out. So what we're using today is simple. Well, we're using Super Clean because it's a really good product to do some degreasing. On top of that too, we've got some bore brushes, small ones for little crevices and all that. And we got different taps and all that to go through and chase threads. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna get these cleaned. It's a messy job, but it's gotta be done. So when these things are all nice and clean, we'll have parts in and we can put them back together. So with that, guys, it's time to get dirty. See you in a few. All right, so what we just did is we sprayed some degreaser on here on the top. We're gonna let it soak. But while this is soaking, Micah and I are gonna start chasing some threads. And basically we're just using a basic tap and die set. This happens to be Irwin. And we do this by hand. If you can run a drill, you can risk going in there, you know, breaking that off if something's in there. You kind of wanna feel it. So one of the important things is when doing this, is you wanna get everything started by hand first. So basically what I do is I take it loose from the handle, just like this, and you start it slowly and straight in there, just like that. So that's already started. And the reason you do this is there's a lot of gunk that gets built up in these threads. All of these are going to have a specific torque spec. So the theory is once you get all the gunk out of it, it's going to go to the hot tank. It's going to get more stuff out that we missed. And when they're clean, you put a bolt in there, you can get a proper torque reading on that. If you were to still have a bunch of junk in there, that's going to give you an improper torque spec, and you can hurt things, especially on the bottom end when it comes to mains, when it comes to rods and stuff like that. So once you get it started, you just lock your tool in place and spin that by hand just like this, all the way down. And this one doesn't feel terrible, but I can guarantee you once we get down to some of the bottom ones that are exposed to a lot of oil and grime, it'll start having more of a feel to it. So yeah, you just go down, and you tighten that up.
There's the stopper ball hole down at the other shop. 6.0. How big you need?
And then you pull this out just like this after you go down. And what's going to happen is, you can also do this with a ratchet too. The handle's kind of nice. But what you do is, once you take it out, that one's going to spin freely. The whole idea is you just chase those threads. You're not making new ones. You're using the same size. And you get all the junk out. See, that's stuff in there. It's actually pretty clean. Those aren't bad, but like I said, we get to the bottom, it's going to be much dirtier, so we'll go ahead and show that. But for now, we don't want to bore you with showing every bolt like this, so we're just going to throw it on time lapse and go from there. Later. All right, while that engine is foamy, cleany, degreasing, if you look here, all these pistons and rods and all that, those are full of carbon. The actual mains over here, they're nice and oily and caked on and greasy too. You can sit there and spend a lot of time cleaning all those by hand and all that. We're actually going to do it the quick way. Mike's got a really cool tool over here. It's actually meantime, guys, we got to get back to chasing threads and cleaning. But yeah, pretty neat setup he's got there. All right, so as you saw, we chased threads, we scrubbed, we degreased, oven clean, super clean, all that fun jazz. So, oh, and the really cool thing was Mike had that cool tool you saw on the air chuck, and that was what he calls a metal tickler. And what that was used for is just a bunch of these little fingers on there, and it vibrates against the block and removes scaling. So the next step with this is what we're gonna do is we're gonna take bore brushes for here in the lifter bores, get those cleaned up, and then we're going to take a dingle ball hone and we're going to put the cross hatching back in here before it goes to the machine shop to get its final hot tanking. There was no ridge in this. The bore taper was fine. In fact, there's still a lot of factory cross hatching, but we're going to get it done right. And with that, guys, we'll see you here in a few. Well, as you can see, I'm at Jimmy's. I was just at 150 Speed Shop, and we got everything done on Micah's Gen 4 LS 5.3. As you saw in that video, we started off just soaking stuff with super clean, some oven cleaner, chasing threads. We explained why that's also important. And then we started really getting in there with the scrub brush, cleaned everything out very, very well. Then, as we got a little bit deeper into it, that's where those little wire brushes came in and going all the little holes and all that. Went over the engine once more, and decided, okay, we're going to scrub a little deeper on that. Mike had that really cool needler tool. It's air powered and it's got these little fingers and just gets in there and it starts taking some of the scaling off those blocks. Once we were done with that, we pressure washed it once more, got a bunch more gunk off of it. We actually did a pretty good job cleaning it up. Put it back on the engine stand, and we went ahead and honed it. The bore taper on it was great. There was no ridge. So we went ahead and ran a dingle ball hone through it. And a little tip on that, the 7/8 one works really good in the lifter bores to get that cleaned up. And Mike had them for the different LS applications, and we ran it through there too. Now we did use the appropriate grit dingle ball hone for the rings that we're going to use. A little tip on that though, guys, is when you dingle ball it, you go forward and then you go backwards with it. Jimmy explained that to me in the past. And that's basically when you're spinning one way, it might make a little bit of metal burrs. And when you go the other way, it's going to knock those burrs down. So what we got left on this, well, as you can see, good old Storm Vulcan hot tank. It's going to sit in here for a little bit. It's going to cook. It's going to get the rest of that grease and grime out of it. And after that, I'm going to pull it out, and we're going to take it back to 150 Speed Shop because we have a short block to build. Some parts are ordered, some aren't. Still doing our homework. But you know what? Tonight, overall, it was extremely successful. We're tired. So with that, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. And remind you, this is the engine for Project Thumper. It's that true working man's truck, classic design, but with modern power. We'll catch you later. See ya.